Welcome to this month's Friends You Keep. As they say, we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And at Erin Wellness, we believe that sustainable health and wellness is an accumulation of 5 pillars: the thoughts you think, the friends you keep, daily movement, nutrition, and lastly, supplementation. So each month we feature guests doing exceptional things that will hopefully inspire you to step into all you are destined to be. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's Friends You Keep. I am so excited to have Becki Prime with me here today. Welcome, Becki.
Thanks so much for having me here.
So Becki Prime is the founder of Beck's Broth, an innovative collection of bone broth-based drinks, including hot chocolate, coffee, and matcha. As a holistic nutritionist with a passion for gut health, her company was born from a desire to create a wellness product that was delicious but also nourishing. Becki is now leading the bone broth movement. Over the past several years, Beck's Broth have grown significantly, and Becki has built a loyal following while gaining traction all across Canada. I've seen your products as well. The products are now carried in over 250 stores with partners and online retailers across Canada, including Well.ca, Healthy Planet, Love Them, and Indigo. Becki has recently been awarded One to Watch by CHFA, which is the Canadian Health Food Association, at their West Expo, and awarded the OMFRA, I think I said that correct? Excellent.
OMFRA. Yeah.
OMFRA, sorry. Excellent. Okay. So congratulations, and thank you for taking the time to be here with me today. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh my God, no, the honor is all mine. I'm so excited for this chat.
So let's just kind of start from the beginning. So tell me a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and how it's taken you to where you are today with Beck's Broth.
Yeah, for sure. So I never could have imagined that I would grow up to become an entrepreneur. So this really all started for me mid-pandemic. Prior to starting Beck's Broth, I was in marketing for 8 years, and then the pandemic hit and I was like, oh crap, how can I best support my friends, my family, and myself? I feel like there was just so many narratives floating around. So I decided to take a step back from work and I went to school to become a holistic nutritionist. So I just wanted to learn all of that info so I can keep myself and others healthy. And then about a month after graduation, I was working with clients and I really was focusing in on improving their gut health. So I was recommending bone broth to everybody. And then I noticed a recurring problem. Nobody was following their protocols when it came to consuming bone broth, and then they were all still spending $10 at Starbucks every day. So I was in a meditative state one day and I was like, you know what? Like, we're going to make bone broth taste like Starbucks. We'll kill 2 birds with one stone. Yeah. So that's pretty much how this all started. And then as soon as the idea came to me, I was just off to the races. Like, I just knew that this was going to be my future. And I just felt so sure of it.
That's amazing. And you have a business partner as well, correct?
I do. Yeah. She came on board about a year and a half ago now. So at the time when we first met, she actually had her own food business. She was doing high protein, gluten-free waffles. And we were in the same circle when it came to founders up in the Guelph area. So we met through small business centers and kind of were piggybacking off of each other in business and became friends. And then, yeah, one day she asked if she could become my business partner. And it was like the easiest decision I ever made. Like, we are complete opposite. She is just such an analytical genius and she's so smart. And I feel like I'm more in the sales and marketing. So she really balances it with like the analytical operation side of the business. Yeah, it's been so much fun working together.
And do you have, did you go to university for business, or did you have a business before this, or this was just purely like, hey, I'm going to just go for this because I really believe in listening to that good orderly direction, right? Your GOD. That's what I kind of think God is your good orderly direction that directs us. And I use that a lot, not only personally, but also professionally. But did you have any business background? You were just like, let's go for it.
No, I took a business class in high school and my teacher absolutely was like, don't start a business. Like, numbers are not your thing. I remember her name was Miss Gabato. She was so funny, but she's like, ma'am, like, you just like, numbers are not for you. It was just so funny to like have a business now. And I've messaged her on LinkedIn recently, just kind of updating her, just being like, I did it, Miss Gabato. Like, I have a business now. So
hopefully you've messaged her and been like, hey, there's some bone broth. Been like, check it out.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely didn't go to school for business. It was just learning along the way, like really working with my small business centers, really taking any of the programs that I can to help figure out how to do business, and then asking the hard questions or asking any question to like LinkedIn communities or anybody that you know. Cause there's like me, like, I don't know anything, but there's so many people in my network now who know a thing or two. So I just really, since the very beginning, I just kind of put it all out there, just being like, hey, I need help. And people showing up with the answers.
People do. I mean, I think that's the kind of myself as well. I mean, I had kind of entrepreneurial things. I had a pet store and stuff like that, but this was for Erin Wellness. It was the first thing where, I I really kind of went all in on it, right? And
Yeah.
it's been the same way. I mean, having the advice, and I've learned as I've had some very expensive lessons along the way, right? And in that I have, whenever I get a woman in business, unless they're, doing a woman's supplement line, I might not be as advantageous to give too much advice, but anybody else, anybody has questions, I'm always like, oh my God, like
Mhm.
Amazon, here's this, here's this, here's this, because I've already gone through it and spent all the money and learned the lessons. And so it's like,
Mhm.
how can I equip you? And there are so many organizations out here. We have the forum, and I think they're out in Ontario now a little bit more so. Yeah, but that was something I used to go to their 8 a.m. meetings with just a
Oh,
pen and
wow.
paper and a like, and I'd sit there, and Erica was one of the people who led those meetings, and now I see her all the time at all the events. And so it's been this, but it's putting yourself out there, going to the meetings, asking the questions. And sometimes that's almost a better lesson than I think sitting in a classroom and getting
Totally.
and just reading
Yeah.
books and hoping you know what's best.
Yeah, it's so interesting to even like learn what other businesses are going through. Like I've really started like cultivating my founder circle, and it's like we text or we have monthly meetings, and I'm like, this is what's going on in this world. Like, what are you experiencing? So it's so cool just to be able to share the behind the scenes and the realities of running a business, and just like founders help each other all the time, which is just so incredible. I did not think I would start a business and be able to have this much support from other founders in the industry, which has been super fun.
No, I agree. I have a mastermind with about 4 or 5 other women in business, and we're all CBG, but we're all different in CBG. So
Yeah.
it's not like we're overlapping, but we deal with the same customers and
Yeah.
we know all the same brokers. And so you can have this really open-end conversation about this because you all, and we've signed NDAs, so nobody's talking to anybody about
Yeah.
anything. But it's great because you can really bounce ideas freely off of each other. And we all know what's kind of going on in the industry. So that's been really helpful.
Well, if you're ever looking for one more, I'll join you.
Post it. So when did you know you were on to something? Like when, because I mean, you've
Hmm.
grown pretty fast. And how long has Beck's Broth been around for?
So it's been around for just over 3 years now. The first 2 years, it was a farmer's market product. So the product looked really different. I was doing liquid in glass jars, which had to be stored in the freezer section. So the first 2 years, I was just at my farmer's market every single weekend, talking to my community, getting that type of feedback. And it was and like being at the farmer's market is the best place to do consumer research, right? Like you get your consumers in front of you and you see their reaction to your product. And I think it was when I started like telling more people about the product and I could see their face when they just got it. They're like, oh my gosh, like that's genius. Nobody is
Oh,
doing that. You know what? Like nobody is. Like, how cool is this?
yeah.
But then I realized when I really wanted to scale at retail and e-com, just because being at the farmer's market, it is exhausting. I can't be there all the time. And it kind of puts a cap on how much you can sell. Um, so I realized when I wanted to grow at e-com and in retail, I was like, glass jars in the freezer section was not going to cut it. I needed to innovate the product even further to become shelf stable and light in weight so the product can move easily. So that project took about 9 months to figure out. And then we launched it in September of 2023, I want to say. Yeah. Yeah. So it's been super
So
fun since then.
and super, it's grown super fast. I mean, I guess that kind of will segue to the next question, or the next comment. So I was looking at some of the stats on bone broth, which is, there was a bunch of different stats. So I just took the one because there were so many but they're all kind of around the same dollar amount. But they said the bone broth market size has grown strongly, obviously. Stats show it will grow from 5.12 billion in 2024 to 5.41 billion in 2025. Like that's pretty big. $5 billion industry just on bone broth. That's pretty exponential. Now, as Beck's bone broth, how do you plan on capturing some of that market share?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think right now, since our product is so unique, it is not when people think bone broth, they don't think of a bone broth hot chocolate or a coffee or a matcha. I know the TikTok movement is really strong on a bone broth hot chocolate, so now people are getting a little bit more familiar. But since the very beginning, we knew that since our product was different, a lot of it is just going to be like education based. Like we need to educate the consumer on why bone broth is important, but then also why consuming it this way, right? Like why do we have a good product that you should learn about? So I think right now, our main focus for this year is growing at retail, but just trying to be everywhere we can. Like all of the events, all of the wellness events, the trade shows and whatnot, really trying to grow in that way, just putting boots on the ground, talking to as many people as we can, but then also working really closely with our Amazon agency to try and grow through that platform as well, which I'm learning more and more of every single day, but I'm definitely so grateful for and you work with Dawn from Beacon Commerce too, right?
I'm the OG actually. I'm the one Don. I was with him with Innovation Guelph.
I love that.
Then he actually wasn't doing Amazon stuff. Like he
Mhm.
was helping people with innovation at Guelph, and then he started working with me. And then with because I mean, I've recommended him to everybody. So I mean, a lot of the
Mhm.
people I see that he's with have been, and everybody I meet, I'm like, if I meet somebody, I met a woman, a couple months ago, and she was paying 3,500 US a
Oh,
month for her Amazon
wow.
agency, and I'm like, oh my God, stop. And I'm like, do an intro to Don. He messaged me. He's like, this is awful how much they're charging her, right?
Oh,
And so having
no.
somebody who is an honest person, and he's also one of my mentors, he's one of my cheerleaders. He's on like, I would say he's like, if I had a board of directors, Don would be on it. I cannot say enough about him in the sense of just being a real solid force in my life, especially supporting me, not only just through business, but we're also really good friends as well. So I think
Yeah.
you definitely have a great person in your corner. Like I can say that wholeheartedly. I've been able to kind of slowly narrow my field down to people who I really know are good people. That's a big thing
Mhm.
for me is
Yeah.
good people at heart, because I think then they have the best interest, not only for themselves, because you want them to care about themselves, but then also you and what you're doing with your brand as well. So he's
That's
amazing.
exactly how we find all of like our strategic partners that we work with, like our co-packer, our Amazon agency, like and like even our ingredient suppliers, like really connecting with the person who will manage that account or the founder or the backbone of their company and just really connecting and being like, huh, like can I fuck with these people? Do they feel good to me? Like, do I want them to be in my circle? And ever since we really started doing that gut check before really working with new people, is listen to your gut first. And then if it feels good, it's going to be a beautiful relationship. And that's kind of what we relied on since the very beginning. And it helps so much because then you can go to these people, you can have those tough conversations if anything uncomfy comes up. And just the communication is 10 times better when you're working with people that you admire and you respect.
Yeah,
So yeah, Don has definitely been one of those people for us.
totally agree. Well, now we've done a Dawn infomercial. He's going to have to
Yeah.
give him the timing. He can cut this and put it on what
Plug Beacon Commerce.
exactly. By being a one of the things too, I found one of my business mentors, and I've been really blessed to have some incredible business mentors in my life. He said to me a little while ago, he goes, if you're ever feeling, and that's kind of this good orderly direction conversation. He said, if you're ever feeling stuck or if you feel like nothing's going right, he goes, shut off all emails, turn off your phone, and just be quiet for the day. He goes, just stop. He goes, don't make any decisions, because he's made rash decisions that when he felt pressured and he goes, and I've never made the right one. He
Yeah.
goes, everybody can fucking wait a day. He goes,
Yeah.
pause it and just take the time and step back. He goes, because it's better to take that time than sign something and be like, oh shit, I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Right. So that's something I've really kind of heeded as well, is that whole like step back. Oprah talks about that too. Like take a breath, step back, land in your body, take that time to really see what the next right move is, and the next right move, and the next right move. Right. So now, what did you find one of your biggest obstacles was in launching your brand? I mean, going from and you're totally right. I mean, the freezer aisle, I've heard this when I had, when I've talked to Lori, who owns an ice cream brand, but she said, no
Mhm.
products, the freezer aisle is one of the hardest places to sell, because nobody goes,
And one of the most expensive.
yeah, and
So
nobody goes and hangs in the freezer aisle. You're not like
yeah.
hanging in the store, like looking out because it's cold, unless it's
Yeah.
summertime, right? But so I can imagine going from a liquid even into a powder must have been an obstacle. But what would you say your biggest obstacle for the brand has been?
Yeah, I think probably funding has definitely been hard. I mean, it costs so much money to create an incredible product with a great brand behind it. So there's a huge chunk of money there, but then it also costs so much more money to scale the business. So you think in the beginning when I was going through my rebrand and really investing everything into the new product line, I cashed at my RSPs, like my life insurance, like every penny that I could pull out of anywhere I did. And I just threw it all at it. And I was like, you know what? Like, this is going to pay off. I just know I need to trust the process and
Your fucking payoff.
it better pay off. And my husband thought I was crazy in the beginning, spending that much I did on branding. But since I had such a unique product and like a bone broth hot chocolate, I knew I needed to spend the money in branding so people would take a second look at the product.
Yeah.
If they're walking by and they're like, oh, that's attractive, like they're going to stop and take a second look before anything else. And that's what we really needed because it was such a weird product that
Yeah.
people were looking at it and then walking away. So we needed to stop them in their tracks. Um, so in the beginning, I really thought that was going to be the biggest like investment, just like the branding, getting off the ground and whatnot. I had no idea that it would cost so much more money to grow a business when it comes to like production runs and whatnot. Like we're trying to grow 15% month after month. But then of course, when you look at the cash flow cycles, it's like, sure, like I'm putting in a production run now and it costs X amount, but then I'm trying to grow by next month. So you need to make sure that you have that money back and you have the inventory. And it's just so crazy what that looks like. So that's why I'm so grateful that I have my business partner, Dominique, because she is so great at looking at those projections along with like my husband, and they can just really kind of figure out what we need. But if that was me trying to figure it out, it would just not happen because like it's so complex. And it costs so much money. So I think that's probably been the biggest thing.
Well, I mean, I brought somebody on this year for operations and to support me with that because it was kind of the same thing. And that is, people think it's not starting a business that's hard. I mean, girls from Sweden and I are good friends. We talked about this. It's scaling that's hard because you don't have the cash flow, right? And to pay to get listed in some of these stores, to do the free fills, to pay for the marketing. So not it's great you're listed, but now what are you going to spend to make the product move off the shelf, right?
Velocity, right?
It's great it's on the shelf, but now what? Right.
Yeah,
and so
that's the hard part.
that costs money. And so then the chargebacks that are coming from your distributor and then having to pay a broker because we both have brokers and we both use the same distributor who's Purity, which is amazing. But still, all of this costs. And then making sure you're actually making money. So I'm like, sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, just teetering on the brink constantly. Right. And it's like, okay, we have this coming in. So this can go out. And it's like all the time. And funding, no matter how much we hear about, supporting women in business, it's really hard to get money. It is hard to get money, and there's only so much, I think, especially now with the global economy going on, the banks are like, they're like, no. Even like upping my credit card has been like a challenge. I'm like,
me too.
I've been using since I was 16. Where am I going? I mean,
working with our actual bank, like we're with RBC, and we literally can't even get funding from them. We all have like Farm Credit Canada and business development, like BDC. So, but that's where building the business out loud has helped a lot. I know that we have each other on LinkedIn. I feel like I like Dominique and I, we always share what's happening in the business, when we need help, whatever win that happens we're sharing it on LinkedIn, because that's where we get like our financial people like Farm Credit Canada or BDC or other people and investors looking at us being like, oh, like they're really serious about doing something and they're not shy to be loud about it. So that really allowed like the eyes to be on us in a sense, where even like when we won that CHFA award, it's like the one to watch. It's like, because we're putting everything out there, like the good, the bad, the ugly, the growth. But yeah, we had a meeting with our rep from Farm Credit Canada the other day because we got this bigger loan from BDC and we just really wanted to talk with Farm Credit Canada, be like, can we support this? Like, we love our rep Declan from Farm Credit Canada. So we just had like a really great meeting and he like talked us through and he's like, you know what, like you guys have really aggressive like sales goals like for this year. And he's like, have you guys just thought about like not growing so fast? And we're like, like when you're trying to grow a business, like that's the last thing I want to hear. It's like, no, like one day we really want to sell the business. And like, I feel like growth and like great growth is something that people really look at. And like right now, I'm so proud to say that we are a profitable like business at the end of the day. We just completed this fiscal year. So that's great. So if we can be profitable, but then also have those aggressive sales goals, like we want to try so hard to meet them. So when you hear like, maybe just don't grow that fast because it obviously costs money and the cash flow, we're just like, you know what, like, we're just going to try and see what we can do.
I mean, I'm aiming for 100% growth this year. So, it's like, I mean, and it's, that's, we'll get into the BHAG in a minute, but like, that's my big, hairy, audacious goal. And it's trying to influence people to take better care of their health and pay attention, all these other things as well. But it really is to grow the brand. And I think, taking that and then backstepping how you're going to do that each month and looking at each, whether it be your sales reps and then direct consumer and then Amazon and what each category has to bring in to get that goal. And then constantly looking at where you're at. And it is stressful, but even if you don't, I mean, by growing 100%, it's really adventurous, but in that, even if I land at 50 or 75, that's still a win, right? So it's never going to be like, oh, damn. And I think you have to. And I think if you're, like I'm kind of the same way. Eventually I will sell the brand. I'd like to stay on in some capacity. There are dreams I have for what I want Erin Wellness to be, but I do know that I want to grow it as, fast. I don't want to spend 30 years growing Erin Wellness at all.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. You want to take some time to enjoy. I mean, like the journey is so much fun, but at the end of the day, it's going to feel really nice when you don't just live, breathe, and everything towards your business. So yeah, I feel like selling looks different to everybody, but I feel like in the CPG space, it really like that's where I feel like founders make the money too, is on the exits. Like you work so hard, invest every dollar you have into scaling the business, the payday comes at the end. Like we're not making bank right now
That's
in the growth stages, you know? So
not at all. And so you were on, when we kind of speak of capitals industry, because my experience, I was on Dragon's Den as well. I went to a web exclusive. I did walk away with 3 offers, which was great. So what I did in the end was I said yes to Arlene Dickinson and turned her down after the show, but I waited the full year till they offered me everything because I wanted to make sure, because they don't do the due diligence till after the show, right? So they came and offered me in December, and I said no. I knew I wasn't going to say yes, but I really wanted to understand the process they went through because that's something I would love to do in the future is invest in women in business. But one of the things I did do, speaking of funding, was I took the episode and I went to my bank and I asked them for the $100,000 I had asked Arlene for. And my banker guy, and I have good credit and I have investments, so that helped too. But I said, no, I want 100K. And he said to me, came back with all these questions. I'm like, you didn't watch the episode, did you? And he's like, no. I'm like, please watch the episode. It's 7 minutes. You'll understand my business. And he watched it.
yeah,
$100,000 line of credit from the bank without giving up any percentage of my company. So that was my good thing I got at a Dragon's
incredible.
Den.
That's so cool.
So that's what I got out of Dragon's Den without having to give up any portion of my company. And I had some really cool talks with Arlene Dickinson along the way. I had some Zoom calls with her, which was really cool. And she's an incredible businesswoman. So that's kind of my experience from Dragon's Den. So I'd love to hear what your experience was and kind of what that, because have you guys aired?
So I will get into all of that right now.
Dragon's Den.
So for season 19, we auditioned. We were able to film with the dragons. So being in front of them, getting filmed and whatnot. We ended up not going to air. So we don't know why we didn't go to air. We didn't end up getting a deal, but it wasn't because of anything crazy. Like Arlene had our back, Michelle had our back. They loved the product. There was 2 things at the end. Our product was just too expensive for them. And then we were too young as a business. At the time when we auditioned, we were only 6 months into business, but it was my mistake because I didn't build the story that it was a farmer's market product for 2 years prior. So I only went in there sharing the story about the powdered product line and when we launched that. So I didn't give any of the background history because you only have a few minutes to really talk before they interrupt. So I was like, frig all that nonsense. We're just going straight to the powdered product. So in the end, we were a bit too expensive, our product cost, and then too new as a business, which was fine. I mean, the conversations were great. You really need to kind of narrate the room because like even the producers going into it, they're like, you need to be the one in the lead. You cannot let them talk all over you, get in the conversations. Like that's the drama. That's what they want for the TV. So I just felt like Dominique and I did such a great job in there. So we were honestly shocked when we didn't end up going to air. We're like, what the heck happened? Like, I feel like we just made such a juicy, episode. And then I tried to reach out to the producers afterwards. And the one that I know pretty well, she's just like, you know what? I don't even know what happened. I came back from vacation. You weren't on the list. So anyways, we went to audition again this year. So we made it to we just auditioned with the producer. So we're waiting to hear back if we get to be filmed again. But in between all of that, like we had Arlene reach out and her assistant reach out, just be like, you know what, send us your investment deck. Like we do want to talk. And I do feel so confident that we have a great product. It would be silly for them not to take another look at us. But yeah, I guess we just weren't drama enough for the TV. So we will see.
Well, I know, I mean, it is really, I think the thing too is you put so much work into that. I mean, I had a pitch coach, what I got from Dawn, and I worked with her day in and day. And I used her for all pitches that I've done. She's phenomenal. But in that, it really is kind of like a gut punch when you're just like, oh, right. It really hurts. It's almost like a relationship ending. You're like, no.
No one prepares you for those emotions either. Like, I don't know what it was like for you, but like, yeah, when we were done talking in front of the dragons, Dom and I just looked at each other and we're like, are we done? Like, we're like, no more. So we're like, okay, so we think we're walking out and we think we're just leaving the room, but then all of a sudden you're stopped in front of all of the cameras in the dark room. And then they ask you questions over a speaker. And so Dom and I just got turned down from the dragons. We were just not expecting that. And it's not like we really needed the money. Of course, we really to go on the show is the main objective, right?
Yeah.
So we're in the back room. I'm looking at Dom. I know if she says a word, she's going to burst into tears. So I was like, great, I'm the one that's going to have to lead the interview. and all these bright lights are shining on you. And my eyes were just burning and stinging. And I was like, oh my God, like all I want to do right now is just go into our room and like have a little cry, you know, like we just weren't expecting that. I don't want to sit through a 5-minute interview of being like, oh, so that didn't go your way, did it? And I was like, no, it didn't. Okay. Yeah, like let's move on. So that's okay.
I mean, the firing questions at you and that kind of thing. And then just, yeah, it was, I mean, it was after that I went and did Launchpad and I won for Up and Away, which is our boric acid. So I had the whole audience scream vagina. But when I was going to do the I basically said, I was like, I said to my pitch coach, I'm like, So let's just go for it. And I actually wish I would have gone on Dragon's Den and had them scream vagina too. But I was like, let's go for it and have fun with it. And then, so it kind of gave me is after going through something like that, any pitch, you're just like, I've got this. Like I can public speak. I can do public speaking anyways, but I am no longer scared or I mean, you get little butterflies every now and then, but nothing to that level because it really is like, holy
That's
shit.
exactly how we
And you have
felt
to
too.
memorize, right? Like you memorize your pitch. And I'm usually when I speak, I use a PowerPoint. So I'm very free talking. I'm not like, my name is Erin Ashley. And I'm like, you're trying to get
Yeah.
every single thing out that you're trying to, cover. But yeah, well, I'm sorry you weren't aired. I wish you were. And
Okay.
you might be up next.
I'm a big believer that like everything happens for a reason. So it's like when we didn't get it, sure, it was a heartbreak then because we worked so hard for it. But like at the end of the day, we can't be mad. The universe has other plans for us, and we know that
And you know
we'll
what?
get where we need
You're
to.
going to go back and they'll show the clip that you'd come back, you'd been on and now they're back again. You know what I mean? So then it creates some more television drama. So, and I think being, just having more eyes on you, I think that's the thing with public speaking or being out in any capacity is people then hear your brand, hear the name, that kind of stuff too. So that makes all the difference as well. So, what is one piece of advice you would give somebody starting out on their entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, I think building our business out loud has been the biggest success for us this far. And definitely, I think leaning on how, like, even Midday Squares has grown their business and really sharing that storytelling aspect. So, when I started the business, I was just listening to Midday Squares podcasts all the time in my ears. When I was in the kitchen, I would listen to probably 3 of their podcasts a day and was heartbroken when they stopped recording them. But I learned so much about the power of just being loud about what you're doing so you can get eyes on your business. And then the people that are looking at your business want to help you grow. So I feel like if I wasn't really, I don't want to say the word loud. I feel like that kind of like twists my word or twists my thoughts a little bit, but just like not doing this all on my own. People can grow businesses behind the scenes all the time, but if you really want to grow a business and like scale and sell one day, it's just so important to like, nobody's going to be your cheerleader unless you're you need to be your own cheerleader first, let's just say. And I feel like that's what we did very well from the very beginning. So whenever we talk to new businesses, we really just share like you need to be the one putting yourself on the map. And then once you put yourself on the map, other people are going to join you, but nobody else is just going to take you and put you on the map if you're not doing that already. So I think that's like the biggest thing, being loud about who you are and what you want. And then also just using your community. Like the power of community in your network is so important because they've already been through it all. They know so much more. It's impossible for one person to have all of the answers, and you don't know what you don't know. So really growing your professional network and growing your community, it honestly is the biggest game changer because it can save you years of your own research just by asking the simple questions online. So don't be scared of doing that. And especially like in the beginning, it was uncomfortable for me to kind of go out there and ask these questions or put my face online. But that you get over that so quickly. It's almost like what we were just talking about with public speaking. Like once you do it once, the next time it just becomes easy. You know everything. You have that self-confidence. So I think just being loud and using your community.
Love that. And what is your next goal? So what's your BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal? I had to tell somebody that today because they didn't know what that was. They're like, what's a BHAG? I'm like, big, hairy, audacious goal. What's your BHAG for? What's next? What are you looking at for the company?
Yeah, so right now we are actually in the process so right now our product is packaged in individual sachets, and then you can get 12 like a 12 pack or a 5 pack or whatnot at retail. You just take the individual sachet. Right now we're building a bulk format, which has been something in the works for a while. I feel like product development takes so long sometimes. Like you think it's going to take a couple of months and then it can take like a year, and it's like, how is it taking this long? Like the idea is in the head, let's just go. So I feel like that's a huge goal for us this year. And then just growing. Like we want to grow. We want to hit 2 million this year. It's a crazy goal for us to get. But we are just we just have so much fire under our ass and so much passion that we want to get there. So we want to launch our bulk format, hopefully by summer. And then we want to hit 2 million this year. So those are the 2 goals that are on my whiteboard right now that we stare at every single day to just be like, yeah, those are our priorities.
Love that. And I think a bulk format is definitely the way to go for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have so many online subscribers. Like I'm sure the bulk format won't do like great in a retail setting because of our price point, but we have so many people that subscribe online that are getting a 12 pack delivered every 2 weeks anyways, right? So they're constant. They've been reoccurring for over a year for their subscription model. So I think the bulk format's going to be really great for us on e-com. And then, probably in some retailers as well. But yeah, just super excited about that. And I feel like we are such a premium brand that I just can't wait for that like gorgeous tin with the gold scoop. And I just think it's going to feel so nice and fun for us to have.
And it is true how long it takes. I mean, I kind of look at all my products as children, and I'm so excited to launch them. We just did 2 new launches, so I'm not doing one for CHFA, but I'm like, because I have MPNs I want to do, and I'm like, oh, but it's also cost and it's money, and it's like looking strategy wise what we're going to be doing. But it's like launching a little child to the world. You're like, look
Yeah.
what I've done, you
Takes
know?
forever. And and it is so expensive. Like it's just like we're trying to really create the process of what it takes to build the product. And like great, you have like the research and development done, but then now it's onto the marketing. And like that's just a whole other beast. So it's just like by the end of the day, it takes like half a year sometimes to develop these things. And I mean, at least for us, like just throwing ingredients together. I know your products are a little bit more complex, but oh my goodness, it takes so long to like get your dream into fruition.
NPNs. I mean, I don't know, but like, 'cause yours would be more a food, correct?
Yeah,
So
yeah, we don't work with
NPN
NPM.
process, oh my God, like a year. I mean, I'm on my third NPN for one of my products. So I've probably spent
Oh,
grand just on NPNs. Like it's been insane, right? Just kind of trying to get the NPN and getting the natural product number. For those of you who don't know, in Canada to sell supplements, we have to have NPNs. We are the most regulated country in the world, I believe, for label compliance and for regulation for supplements. So that's one of the great things you can know when you buy supplements in Canada is that we do have this process, but it does take forever and it is costly. So it just adds on extra time and frustration at times. So, aside from this incredible business you're growing, how do you find balance if that word does exist for you?
that's such a funny question. I have to laugh at it. It comes and it goes, let's say. So I feel like I was never expecting being a founder and a CEO to have so many meetings in my day. I don't know about you, but my calendar is meeting after meeting. Like last week, I had back-to-back meetings for 5 days in a row. And I'm like, what the heck? Who the frig am I talking to all day? It's not even just like my internal team. And like by the end of the week, after all those meetings, you're like, what did I accomplish? Like I haven't been able to get any deep work done because you're just in meetings all day. But I found out that it really, like for me to get some balance in my life, we just started working with a staffing agency. So we do a lot of trade shows and events throughout the year. So now that those are getting fully staffed by our staffing agency, which has been incredible. For any founders who are listening to this, we work with Stephen. He is the founder of the Seed Agency, Canadian based, more so in the GTA, but he does have brand ambassadors all throughout Canada. He's been the biggest blessing. Oh my goodness. The communication has been incredible. The brand ambassadors are all like who you want them to be. Like at first, kind of handing that over to somebody else, I was a little bit scared because I was like, well, what if you don't have the spunk or the personality or whatever to sell this product? And then I met all the brand ambassadors and I was like, I have nothing to worry about. So I've been able to, yeah, I've been able to save a lot of energy because now I can stay home on weekends while the Seed Agency is running all of our events. And then also, I'm the type of person where I need a slow morning. We have a rule at Beck's Broth where nobody can schedule meetings before 11 a.m., like for the internal side of the business. So it's like until 11 a.m., like our calendar needs to be quiet unless it's something important that you need to wiggle in there. But I need to wake up. I need to walk my dog. I need to do yoga or Pilates. Like I need to have that mindful morning or else I'm going to open up my laptop and I'm not going to close my laptop until like 9 p.m. So if I want that sense of balance, it needs to happen in the morning. And not really because like I need to be working until 9 p.m., but I'm just genuinely so excited about the work that I get to do. So it takes a lot to like kind of rip the laptop out of my hands by the end of the day. Cause it's like, no, like I want to be able to do this. So making sure that like I'm getting my sleep. I don't have an alarm. So I just normally wake up when my husband wakes up around 7:30 and then just making sure that I don't start work until my walk is done, my workout's done, my breakfast is done. I'm really just trying to ease into it. And I don't put a lot of pressure on myself to be at my computer for a certain time. But yeah, so I normally start the work day around like 10.
That's amazing. I mean, I start at 5. I'm the
Very
opposite of you.
different.
The opposite. That's why it's like I'm like, oh, I can do a 7 a.m. Zoom or I can do whatever time. No, I'm up at 5. I work best in the morning. So first thing,
Yeah,
the gym,
yeah.
walk dogs, but it really is. I can sit at my laptop. I wake up at 4 sometimes. End
Mm,
of the day, I'm no good. But it's
yeah.
that to me, my like prime hour is like as early as possible. Right.
Oh,
So
that is funny.
we just came back from New York and Toronto, and so we've been 3 hours ahead. And I'm like, sweet, because I'll wake up extra early, and I'm like, I feel really alive because I'm like, it's like 8 a.m. out there. I think
Yeah,
it's 5. It's amazing.
yeah.
Um, so what is one thing? Can I ask how old you are? How old?
I'm 29.
Okay, all right. Because I was looking at this and I'm like, you know what? You're going to know stuff even at then. So what is one thing you would tell your 20-year-old self?
Oh my goodness. My 20-year-old self was the exact opposite of who I am now. I had no idea what I was doing when I was 20 years old, and I definitely was not responsible. But I would just say give yourself grace. You don't need to know everything when you're 20 years old. You think that you think you know the world. You're probably this like rebellious girl that's just like doesn't care about what's happening. But I just feel like I was surrounding myself with a lot of friends who kind of had that pressure of like they need to know what's happening. And I'm like, and for some reason when I was 20 years old, I was like, I don't need to know what's happening. I'm going to figure it out. So, and then my life shifted so much over my 20s where I really grew into the person who I am today, but I just needed to trust the process. So even when I was 20, I didn't put a lot of pressure on myself. And then I knew I was going to find myself one day. I really felt in my body that like I was going on a journey. So I didn't put, we don't like to put pressure on ourselves over here, but it takes.
That's really important.
Yeah.
What is your favorite go-to treat besides Beck's broth?
I was going to say Beck's broth hot chocolate for sure. Honestly, my favorite treat right now, that's a great question. What am I thinking of? Well, my latest hyperfixation is semi-Beck's broth, but I swear there's other ingredients. But I love avocado pudding. I feel like that's a snack that I've always made. I love chocolate and I'm a full fat girly. So I feel like I always make avocado pudding and then adding like a sachet of Beck's broth hot chocolate in with an avocado and then like a little bit of oat milk. It makes the most decadent like chocolate pudding that you'll ever eat ever. And it's high in fat, fiber, and protein. You literally can't go wrong. But other than that, I'm obsessed with crackers lately. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm a savory girly at heart when I'm not drinking like my hot chocolate or whatnot. So I need to have like a cracker that I can dip into hummus or whatnot. And the low carb co crackers are the best crackers ever. They're full of fiber. They don't get the seeds stuck in your teeth. Like the texture is so incredible. And yeah, they're so dense with nutrients. So if you guys are listening, I don't know where they carry them. In grocery stores, but I know that they are growing online and they have all that info there. But the Low Carb Co, incredible.
I'll have to take a look at those. You should do a cookbook if that's something that you're thinking of too.
You know what? We actually are in the process of developing our cookbook now. We have one online where it has like 4 recipes, but we're trying to bring it out into being like 20 recipes, but it's so fun.
I have 4 cookbooks. It's a lot of work, but it's still like they're small, but still it's you should do one. And what is your favorite swear word? You can swear obviously on here. What's your favorite swear word?
I swear too much and it's probably fuck. I say fuck a lot. It feels so good when you're telling a story and you're excited and you can just swear. It feels like a little treat. Like it's like your enthusiasm. And I'm laughing because my husband's probably listening to this and he does not love when I swear all the time. So whenever I swear on like our Instagram stories and stuff, he's like, you shouldn't have said that word. And he's like, it would have been perfect, but you said fucking. And I was like, it just gets my excitement out so much. So yeah, I'm a girl that swears a lot.
Like that. All right. And what is your favorite book? Do you have a favorite book?
I just read one that I have not stopped talking about. Actually, it's called Water and Sky. Do I have a copy of it here? I do not, but Water and Sky, it's a book that was written in the 80s by the author. His name is Al something long, but it's so cool. So he went on this journey through Canada and like on his canoe with his wife, and it was 419 days on the water with no civilization, no phones, because it was back in the 80s. They didn't bring watches or anything. They just brought like their food, a shotgun, like because they were out in the wilderness. I think it was like out in Alberta area. And it is the coolest book ever because he journals throughout his whole journey, but the way that he connects like his emotions with the environment and the adventure is just so cool. Like I did not want to put the book down. I even emailed him. I found his email like afterwards and I sent him a message being like, I truly like loved that book. It made me realize that like I need more adventure in my life. And he put it in such a beautiful way. So yeah, if any listeners are looking for a new book out there that isn't all education and business, because I do believe I need to have some adventure to keep me alive. But I personally can't take 6 months off to go and do that right now. It's Water and Sky, and it's such a great book.
Okay, very cool. I love that. All right. Yeah. So where can people find you? Instagram, website, where can they buy you? So plug away for Beck's Broth.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram at Beck's Broth. Our Facebook recently just got hacked, so you won't find us on Facebook right now, which is unfortunate, but that's been so much work trying to get that back. So I've taken a step back from that. But you can find us on Instagram at Beck's Broth, which is like our playground. We absolutely love to go on Instagram and build our community and just be silly. I feel like that's where we get to have a lot of fun. And then you can shop us right now through our own website at becksbroth.com or on Amazon.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on today. This has been an awesome conversation. And I know I get to see you next month at CHFA, so we get to have like a real in-person meeting. I give you a hug. But thank you for coming on and sharing. I think this has been such an invaluable conversation. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. And thanks to everybody for listening. Stay tuned next month for another Friends You Keep.